I think for me, being a Brit and, not necessarily studying the Civil War at school, I was starting at square one, but it was great because Gary Ross, the writer-director, had been working on this project for over 10 years. He had access to, incredibly established and highly esteemed professors at Harvard, that I was able to speak to. I also went to Mississippi and went to Jones County itself, visited Ellisville, visited the grave site of Newt and Rachel, where they're buried in the same graveyard, very close to each other. I also was able to read, whatever I could. I read slave narratives by, Frederick Douglass, Harriet Jacobs, absorbed whatever documentaries I could on the period, and also, to be able to work with a dialect coach as well on the accent for Mississippi. So there was so much to draw upon, and I think, just shooting in that location, especially when we were out in the remote swamps, it's very easy to believe you are back in time. There's no evidence of modern life around you. It's trees and wildlife, and we had these wonderful costumes which didn't really feel like costumes because a lot of them were period clothes of the time, so that sort of gave everything a sort of more authentic edge to it, which was really helpful. He's so passionate and, really into the history, has done such detailed research. He's created this website where everything is noted, where you can find out historically exactly what happened. And he's really, he's funny, and he's sort of, I guess, like a maverick, he knows his own mind. He's got, his own ideas, and he sticks by them. I mean, he's a force of nature, a bit like Newt himself. I read the script and it was so epic, and I thought it was such a powerful story, and Gary had written it in such a visceral way, and I thought, wow, these events really happened. I didn't know that there were, escaped slaves and poor white farmers uniting together for a rebellion in the South and creating their own, free state. I mean, that was so inspiring, so pioneering for the time. This relationship between Newt and Rachel, how they fell in love, they had a baby, they lived on the same farm together, and, the fact that he deeded her 160 acres of land, which made her, one of the only, or one of the few landowning women, probably one of the only landowning women of color of the period. So for me, it was such an inspiring story about the struggle for freedom, and really how freedom has to be demanded. It's not just granted.